Hey, welcome back to the Gemini channel. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for Gemini. Know that energy is fluid, roles can be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel, I like to go deep within my reading, so I like to look at everything, but we really look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and we see how they play those karmic themes within your experiences. So you have to keep that in mind if you ever want to win a free reading with me. If ever you want to get any type of reading with me, whether you want to win one, whether you want to purchase one, that part of your reading is always going to be a shadow reading. I pride myself on being a healer. And so part of healing is to see your situation from a different perception. There's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness will depend on what you do. And then your level of consciousness is determined by how much trauma you've gone through, how worldly you are. So a lot of times when we're spiritually blocked, it's because we're stuck in a perception about ourselves, the situation, and that blockage keeps us in a place of disempowerment. So healing and integrating the spiritual lesson, because like I said, there's many different realities that play out at one time, and karma is not necessarily bad, but we tend to associate it with bad. But your karma is, again, based on what you do. So the habits and the behaviorisms that we form in trauma to deal with trauma, to deal with abuse, abusive people, or an environment that isn't suitable for our well-being. Okay, I'm going to keep it like that. There's many different reasons why an environment isn't good. It could be psychologically not good, physically not good, emotionally not good. Either way, the spirit doesn't see the difference. It sees it all as the same, that physical harm is just as, bad, obviously, as psychological, as emotional. There is no, you know, more. We tend to think that physical hurt is worse than psychological hurt, and we don't talk about psychological hurt, when meanwhile, the quality of your life depends on your mind, the state of your mind. So just keep it in mind. Now, anything you want to know about the channel, you can find in the description box. Anywhere you want to find me, you'll find that information also in the description box. And why I say that is because I have uh, three other channels. I have a Virgo channel, I have a Scorpio channel, and I have an all zodiac channel. And I do a lot of stuff within my community. So if you want to check that out, check it out. Also check out my merchandise. All right, let's jump right on in and see what the underlying energy is, the underlying energy of your situation. If you want to enter into winning free reading with me, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in the comment bar. The word of the video is always the underlying energy that tells me why everyone's doing what they're doing. This is important when we're dealing with shadows, when we're dealing with spiritual blocks. The reason why is because people tend to wear a mask. They create a persona. They want you to believe their persona. They want you to believe their mask. And so it's very confusing a lot of times when we're dealing with someone that they're supposed to love us, they're supposed to care about us, and they're not in alignment with that. They're actually doing things to sabotage the relationship. When we are in a connection like this, we can take on this energy as if it's something having to do with us, because we may have lived that experience before. Breaking karmic cycles means that you change your perception about yourself, this situation, and it's based on creating new habits and behaviorisms. So healing is not just the awareness. Now, keep that in mind again when doing your reading, because you'll have new awarenesses, but you are your own healer. You'll have to go through the experience doing something different when you're dealing with Secret. That is the underlining energy of why everyone's doing what they're doing. And I feel like you're in separation from someone that doesn't want you to know what's going on in their life. Now, again, you're going to write that word in your comment bar. And so, being that you're in separation from them, I feel like this person's embarrassed. They don't want you to know what's going on. And I feel like it's because they don't know what's going on. There's a sense that they don't really have control over their life. And they're in a place where they really desire to grow. And I know that that's such an odd thing, but I feel like this person has lived around people that have suppressed them. So they've been living more from their lower self, and I feel like did have a connection with you, but never really fed it. And now they're finding themselves in a place where I feel like someone's suppressing their energy, and they're like, again, there's a desire to grow themselves. But I feel like even though they didn't really give this connection that much, this person still thinks about you. They were still like, I feel like watching you on social media, and I don't know why I'm feeling that way, almost looking for answers within their own life. This is the energy. So again, someone's connected to you, and I'm not really feeling as if this connection ever really got off the ground. I'm not going to lie. I feel like it started to, or there was talk like it was going to. So, and now, like I said, I feel like the secret too is that this person really does want to grow with you, but they're in a situation that's not allowing them to grow, which the irony is what's making them actually think about you, think about their life, think about some of their choices. And I feel like this person has been stagnant for a long time. So this is where they are. That's the secret. But we're going to take a peek and see, actually, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Let's see what this person really thinks. I need to be strong in who I am before I merge my energy with yours in the 3D. I'm afraid I could lose myself in the relationship. So this person tends to, again, be extremely codependent. And I feel like when you met this person, they weren't 100% out of their relationship, but they had grown out of that relationship, and they were kind of living separate, even though they might have lived together underneath the same roof. They were living separate. And so, however, they're connected to someone that is very controlling, someone that's like a karmic, someone that doesn't want to let go of the connection. And I feel like for a long time, your person felt bad. They felt bad. They felt like responsible. And I feel like, this connection really, that your person never really emotionally built up a strong bond to this person. I feel like for whatever reason, I just feel like they had a one night stand, and this person very dominated the relationship. They might have kids together. They have something together that makes this person feel responsible. Like, again, it's almost like I feel like the karmic, and that's what we're going to call them, the karmic, because the person that's connected to you is connected to you because emotionally they have a connection. They have a spiritual connection. There is not a spiritual connection in this connection. However, I think for a very long time, your person was tricked into believing that they were in that. And I think it's because the karmic is someone that is very manipulative, very dominating, kind of makes them feel guilty for not loving them, for not treating them the way that you know, when you're in love with somebody, you get treated well, where I feel like your person never really respected this karmic, and the karmic dealt with it, but mainly because they liked what it looked like. I know that that sounds crazy, but they financially this karmic was taken care of. But nevertheless, it's a codependent relationship. Your person stayed connected to this person for a long time. And as I feel like they're in separation from you and they're again they're reflecting, how did I get to where I am? And and like like again, how did I wind up here? And what they're seeing is that they weren't strong. They weren't strong in their boundaries. Like almost like they scattered their energy. They allowed someone to guilt and manipulate and confuse them. I feel like your person's a highly sensitive person and has a really hard time differentiating whose emotion is whose. And for a long time, they were with this karmic that, like I said, it was never intended to go this long. This connection was never intended to go this long. I feel like your person's trying to get out of this connection a lot, but the karmic has always been, I always win, I always win, I always win. And they convince themselves and they convince your person how they need to be there. If they have children, you need to be there for the children. I feel like they act like a damsel in distress. I feel like they do everything to manipulate. And when that doesn't work, they throw roadblocks in your person's way, and then they start smear campaigns. So it's almost like they do one thing after another thing after another thing after another thing after another thing to prevent your person from moving forward. And the truth of the matter is they get confused, they get guilted, and then they say, well, why am I getting guilted? But I feel like the karmic has normally gotten away with this for a really long time, and now they're not. Because again, your person is saying, I need to be strong in who I am. So it's not like they're giving you energy. See, but they're not giving that karmic energy. And the karmic's like, by now you would have caved into me. And I feel like they're really afraid because they actually see that your person is doing things to, like, again, better themselves. Like it was almost better when, your person felt bad and they were drinking and they were sitting on the couch and they were moping around and they weren't taking care of themselves. They knew exactly where they were. So it was fine. Now that your person's doing things, there's a sense that, that they really are not going to stay. And this is really making the karmic crazy. This card fell out. I want to know everything about you, but I hold myself back from asking. I'm afraid I'll get in too deep. It's again, there's already a spiritual connection. They want to be with you. I feel like this person is starving. And it's not like they haven't had sexual relationships before. They have had sexual relationships before. It's the fact they never had an emotional connection before, that's a spiritual connection that actually is feeding them. That it's like they've been, again, done the here for a good time, not a long time, because they had to keep the karmic happy. It's like, and this is why the karmic was like, I don't care if you have a one night stand. I don't care. I'm still getting everything. You're not going to leave me. It's like, I'm going to do everything to guilt you, to manipulate you, to make you stay. And that definitely worked for a long time. It's not working now because your person has strong feelings. They know already, like I have to hold myself back because I have to like they don't want that karmic to like kill themselves. And I know that sounds like so dramatic, but it's almost like the karmic is so unstable and is showing that they're so unstable as they're losing grip. A long time of manipulation it's the shit is hitting the fan. So I've been so grounded all my life, it's hard for me to trust the spiritual element of our connection, yet can't deny it exists. And that's really what's feeding them. I think it triggered them at first. They felt like this is like controlling me. It's like almost thought that it was witchcraft because it's like they couldn't shut it off. They could, and this person, like you said, if they can stay with a karmic and they were with so many other people and never left that karmic, is because they'd have a hard time building up an emotional connection to anyone. And the karmic kind of makes that so as well, because they're there reminding them how they need to be, kind of like brainwashing them day in, day out, day in, day out. You need to love your children. You need to take care of the house. You need to take care of me. You shouldn't have, again, all day long, but what they should do. And like, but to the point that it was draining. And now that the karmic is so nervous, it's like I feel like they try to do it more, but your person just doesn't do anything. I think that they think that that karmic is so unstable that they're like, I don't want to like end it. I want you to end it, because they're like really afraid of what this person's going to do. As twin flames, we are here to ascend and help others to do the same. So they feel like you're a twin flame. And that would make sense because this karmic is like, has had dominance over your person for a long time, to the point that I feel like your person learned how to, departmentalize, compartmentalize. They were able to like, you know, have a nice home life with this karmic, just they didn't have the emotional connection. They were more like friends that got along. But I think that that karmic always wanted a deep relationship and then just settled for what it looked like. And your person was like, I feel obligated. Maybe again, because they have children, they have something together. It's again, they started something together. The karmic has helped them. It's not like they haven't helped them, but they found things to do to staple themselves in your person's life. And I feel like your person gave too much power away to them because they got lazy. It was like, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to, date and have a good time on the side. And then you'll, take care of my home and you'll take care of it. I'll never really have a connection, but I'll have passion. So I believe that this person like had a very big ego, and they had a very big ego because they would just go out and hook up with random people. And the karmic knew this. They looked the other way. They were not really okay with it, but they dealt with it. And then what happened is it's like you came along, and now this person has a spiritual connection that's actually a twin flame connection. And the karmic is like, what the fuck is this? And your person's like, I'm leaving. I don't want to stay here. It's like, I think they told them, and they told them because, again, friends, that karmic found ways to cement themselves in your person's life every which way they could. So they, again, that your person would confide in them, would talk to them, would tell. And I think, again, the karmic pretended that they were friends, and they were cool with the setup. They were never cool with it. And your person's like, I'm gonna go be with my twin flame, and this karmic is seeing seeing red, seeing red, because it's how much I've done for you. It's how much like I've given up for you. But in that, your person has been stifled. They haven't been able to grow. So the secret is also about this karmic, not knowing what to do with this karmic. Separate or together, we are working in tandem with each other. I feel like they can feel you still feel them. There's still that emotional bond, obviously. Otherwise, they wouldn't be compelled to like, again, leave this karmic, because this karmic is on them like 24/7. The more that your person gets confident to walk out and really start their own life away from this karmic, the more the karmic is getting crazy, which is what the issue is. It's like they almost like don't know what to do. I'm realizing this connection is something special and worth treasuring. And I feel like because they did everything to like walk away from this, they've done everything to end this connection. They've done everything. I mean, I mean, you would call them out on their shit and they would never be accountable. Like they would be avoidant because how are they supposed to deal with it? First of all, this person tends to be um emotionally avoidant. They have avoidant anxiety attachment where they tend to check out, they tend to disassociate, they tend to compartmentalize just because of that. And then their whole dynamic of how they were living based on, I feel, being extremely codependent, being an unhealed empath, having this narcissistic person like dominate like continually. I mean, that's really what this karmic is. The karmic's acting like that your person's an extension of them. They don't care whether your person loves them or not. It's like I'm not going anywhere. This is what this is your life, whether you like it or not. This is what it is. They don't care. And when, if we're normal, we don't want to stay in a relationship like that if we're going to be ignored. And I feel like that's what your person does. And they don't deal with the situation with you or with the karmic. This is where they go wrong because they still are very codependent. So there's a sense of almost like hoping that you'll come in and rescue them, which you're not doing. And so there's a sense that they need to, again, be accountable and for their own life and set appropriate boundaries with this person regardless, because otherwise then it's like you feel like, well, then you can't help but to like judge them because you're not going to trust them. And it's like, and that's really what it is. And the karmic like wants that. The karmic is like, it doesn't care how they win at this point. So I just feel like for a long time, this person had feelings, not like they didn't, but they obviously couldn't let you really into their life. Not fully. I feel like they tried to like, you know, walk away, not deal with the situation, play it down, keep the secret alive. But it just got to the point where you're like, I don't really want to be in a situation where I feel like you're lying to me all the time and where I feel like you're dominating the situation. So I feel like, this person didn't really believe that you were going to leave and you called their bluff. You were like, I'm leaving because I feel like I'm always alone in this connection because you're more worried about the karmic. So yeah, you're with me, but then you're not really with me, or you want to be with me. But again, like we can never really be in a connection as long as this person's here. And so I feel like, again, that I don't know whether you knew all the time that the karmic was there. I feel like when you first met them, they pretended that they didn't have this person. And now then you found out and then they were ending it, but then now this person is still there. And that's what the issue is. It's like your person isn't accountable for their own life. And the karmic knows this, doesn't knows that your person like kind of doesn't have a will to like do it themselves. That it's like almost like I could stay here and just be like comfortable, even though I'm uncomfortable because I'm just used to it. And even if I leave, I have anxiety about being with you, even though I have feelings for you, because I don't really know what, like, are you going to be as codependent as the karmic is? Remember, your person stays in that connection for a reason. They're comfortable being uncomfortable, even though down deep inside, they do want to grow. So it's the sense of that the karmic saying, I know eventually you're just going to get lazy and not want to fight me. You're just going to give in already. But they're not, because you're a twin flame. So that, but you had to walk away. You had to walk away because you're like, I'm not going to be in a relationship where you dominate me, where you're not giving me anything, where you isolate me, because that's really what it is. Because I'm not a part of your life, because you can't let anyone really know because of the karmic. And even if you're not with them, they're still controlling your life because the focus is there. And like you said, I feel like they got to a point and they know that they have to release. They know that they need to release their ego, and but even so, they're like, still learning about twin flames. And part of it is learning also how to surrender. So, like, I just feel like whether they want to or not, they're not going to be able to hold back. And that's what the karmic knows. And that's what they know too. It's just, I feel like they're trying to like make themselves better and stronger before they come to you, because they see what happened with them in the karmic and they don't really want to go back into another relationship where they get dominated again and manipulated. It's like, I feel like this person really trusted the karmic, really trusted them almost like a friend. Like, I do feel like they confided in them, and that person just gave them really bad advice. And, by the time that your person really figured it out, it was too late. That karmic was putting obstacles in there, and I don't know what those obstacles were, but I feel like they had to do with finances, like tying up the finances. Remember, they lived together. And your person gave this person too much power. Why? Because they were running around and living a double life. Didn't really want to be with this person, but it takes a lot to run a house. So if you have somebody like paying the bills and doing all the other stuff, well, it's easy then to live a double life. So I believe that your person liked that because it was like their persona seemed to be like, I can have anything I want. Everybody loves me. Everybody's attracted to me, like they felt like big boss, you know, energy, like powerful. They felt powerful because here they have someone at home that's taking care of everything. And even if that person works, they're still like contributing, and they're the ones that are home. They're the ones that really care emotionally. So they're the ones that are really giving and making that home into a home where your person was not. They were running around. You just came along. That's why the karmic is like, what the fuck? It's like they've been dealing with this for years. They figured like usually like I always win, but they're not going to win this time. I feel like this is the end of that karmic cycle. And even though that karmic is doing everything to hold on, yeah, like it's almost like your person is like almost like does not know when they're coming, but they do know that they're coming. It's like they're afraid because they're really uncertain of the outcome. It's almost like they feel like they're gambling. Remember, this is terrifying for this person because they've been with the karmic, dominated by the karmic, almost brainwashed. There's almost like witch energy, because when a person continually like creates the environment and is gaslighting and is very manipulative and is very secretive and do all that, well, and doing everything to dominate, that they're not using any of their energy to create their own life. They're using all their energy to like dominate, and now it's not working. So imagine how they feel. And that's why a person like it's anybody's game. It's anybody's game. And so they like, I don't know, but I'm feeling like it's almost like one day they're just gonna run out. They're almost just gonna like, I almost feel like your person like is the type to start arguments so that they can run out. And so almost like that, because they don't want to be there. It's like, yeah, because it's like they're gonna leave. It's like it's like this person is gonna leave. They're gonna like have the victory here. They're gonna leave. It's like whether or not your person, whether the karmic wants them to or not, it's just they don't know when and they don't know how. It's almost like one day they're gonna wake up. And I think it's because it's divine. That's what I'm getting. Divine twin flame soulmate union. The person doesn't know when it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. And I feel like almost like the more that the karmic gets crazy, the more that it's pushing your person out the door, trying to look for another, like an escape route. And this is a relationship that should have ended a long time ago, but the karmic has refused to let it end. And so again, when you put all your time, your energy and effort into, somebody else and making your life all about somebody else, that's against spiritual law, because we're all down here with our own unique path. We're all supposed to be an expression of unconditional love by contributing to humanity. And then, yes, having a relationship, but not like that. That is really out of balance. And it's because your person has always been emotionally checked out with that karmic. And I feel like they normally can deal with it, but twin flame, they can't. And that's why they're like, why I've done everything. I've walked away. It's easier to stay with karmic, but I can't let this go. It's like this relationship, I realize, is something special, is worth, and this is my life. This is my life. It's not your life. So it's almost like they're awakening and stepping into their power. Like, wait a minute, this isn't your life. And you can try and brainwash me all you want, but I still have feelings. So it's like you said, they're like awakening. So we have to ask, why did you attract this person into your life? Because you're a magnet of what comes into your life. And, some of you will be with this person and some of you won't. I feel like the person's going to come back and they feel like they're gonna have a victory. That's what they feel like. That's what they want. Again, there's going to be a new beginning. Okay, the fresh start. That's what it says in this story. And so you have to ask again, you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life. So why did you attract this person? What during separation have you been doing? Have you integrated the spiritual lesson? A lot of times, if this person is coming back, it's because you have. Because twin flame relationships, remember the divine, like the twin flame relationship is on, it's off, it's on, it's off. There's a runner, there's a chaser. And it's because you're dealing with paradoxical energy, which is opposite energy, where one person is very feminine, has a lot of feminine energy, and the other person has a lot of masculine energy. And one person that has a lot of feminine energy, they have all the feminine gifts, but they have blocks where the masculine energy is. And the masculine has blocks where the feminine is and has gifts, again, with masculine traits. So this is where the opposites attract, and this is where your twin flames, your other half. It's not that they're your other half, it's just they're not blocked where you're blocked. You both grew up in similar environments and learned the same spiritual lessons wrong. And the way that you learned how to survive was again through either very feminine traits or very masculine traits. Long and short, The twin flame journey is all about learning balance. It's about learning how to integrate the higher levels of consciousness that we're not taught in childhood, such as unconditional love. Growing up with childhood trauma, you're not taught that love is unconditional. You're taught that love is conditional. So there's a fear of being vulnerable. There's a fear of speaking the truth. There's a fear of being transparent. There's a fear of like being your own person because you were suppressed at one time. And I do believe that both parties were. And that's the whole, from a higher perspective, why the twin flame journey comes together. So again, neglect, which again, these are your childhood wounds. Right, so first, the twin flame will awaken your trauma. They will awaken your trauma to make you look at what your shadows are. Because if something bothers you, if something is able to trigger you, it means that there's a wound underneath. And the wound here was that you were neglected in childhood, and that could be emotionally. It could be, I feel like for a lot, it was emotionally, like you didn't have anyone there for you, that there was a lot of imbalances in the home, possibly very codependent parents, and where again, one parent wasn't emotionally getting anything, so they weren't capable of giving you anything. So this is where family karma is inherited. We see the codependence, and where again, you're brought up in an environment where you're taught that that's healthy, where it's not healthy. It's love with conditions, love with ownership, and that's not. It's actually a concoction for a trauma bond. So it's bad, but it's one that would keep you bound to the emotional wound that you grew up with, which was again neglect, not getting anything, and kind of because this person is so wrapped up with that karmic, they again neglected you because of something else, which is always your theme. No one could be there for me because they're dealing with other things, that other things are more important. So again, learning how to deal with your own pain, your own everything by yourself. That's a trauma response, by the way. Like when you grow up in a home where parents were not there for you emotionally, children have to figure it out. So in adulthood, that's what they do. Still, they go into isolation and they figure it out. I feel like this was good though, because even though that this person neglected you and it brought up your childhood wounds, I feel like you, again, it robbed you of your joy. And so again, joy is not just about being in a relationship. Then there's a sign of what brings me joy. And I feel like you started to put your energy into finding out what brings you joy. And really that's important because when you grow up in a family that emotionally they don't give, well, that's always going to be a trauma, and you're always going to get a person that is emotionally not as intelligent as you, or you're are not going to be as intelligent as the person that you connect with. And heal, because relationships are all about healing, helping you to uh, helping to restore you back to your original energy, which is unconditional love. So we learn how to do that through, again, living different perceptions, seeing ourselves differently. And so I feel like being like growing up in an environment where you didn't get that love, I feel like you always were able to go out and do things that did fulfill you. But I feel like you got to a point where you kind of grew out of those things. And like you said, this person wasn't really available for you. And I also feel like you went through a little bit of a hard time. So looking to see really what brought yourself joy, because you would need to do that anyway, because that was a wound in childhood that wasn't really integrated. Which the way that we again get joy is we have to fill ourselves with things that are going to bring us joy and then be interactive in those things. And I feel like that's what you did in that time. You nurtured yourself again, where I feel like you had to reparent yourself, and we reparent ourselves by taking care of ourselves. When someone doesn't show up for us, when someone can't be there for us, and it's difficult times, what we have to do is we have to be our own sense of happiness. We have to be our own source of energy. And so, again, energy comes from knowing exactly who you are and what's going to bring you joy, what's going to bring you happiness, and putting your energy there, because you're going to connect then with other like-minded people. And I feel like that's really important, because I feel like you have a tendency to get into codependent relationships, as so does this person. So before you got into another relationship, spirit wants to show you again a different way to be in a relationship that's going to create more balance. So that's going to help with triggers, because the twin flame soulmate relationship is one that's full of triggers, because this person's come into your life to again trigger you, to show you everywhere where there's a shadow. And so there is unconditional love for this person. We wouldn't stick around long enough. There is a lot of passion for this person, but passion is considered to be fire. And fire is what transmutes those spiritual blocks into, our gifts. Again, doing something with our twin flame, when we're able to channel that energy, channel it into purpose. What you're doing is you're taking the negative energy of that wound and the passion that, you have for each other. By the way, it's not just one wound of the wound that you and this person have. And then again, that was mainly caused in childhood, but then you both have it, and you both channel that wound into unconditional love. And that's through the act of passion. And that's not just through sex, it's through creation. It's through transmuting the negative energy into like an actual physical structure of creation. So where a business is all of a sudden birthed, or a baby is birthed, some sort of physical thing is birthed. But before you get there, you have to have balance. And I feel like during this time, you found balance, but you needed to do that for yourself. So remember, by being a better self, you become a better partner. So I do believe that this connection is like, even though this person like had a lot of pain and was very codependent and didn't treat you well. And I feel like it's not that they really wanted to not treat you well, it's that the karma was so dominating. They just feel like it's right. And it's funny, I look over here and I see ancestral, and I just feel like this is a twin flame relationship that's supposed to help you. And I say that because we see timeless, right? But that is to help you transmute your ancestral karma. So I believe again that you grew up with very codependent parents, and I believe so did uh, your person, but it wasn't just codependent. They had attachments, they had addictions, there was a lot of dysfunction where both parties were not able to really be children, weren't able to find themselves, weren't able they were taught, they were conditioned in environments to believe that love had conditions. And, you know, in order to survive and get by was to almost abandon yourself in order to give. So we wouldn't volunteer to change, you know. What happens is that we fall in love. Love makes us change. And so this is definitely a connection that the divine orchestrated to help you both heal, you know, not just you, not just them, but you too. I mean, neglect, not feeling good enough, feeling abandoned. This person did all that, you know, definitely brought it all up to the surface for you. But you feel that it is a soul relationship and you understand what this person, whether it doesn't mean that you like it, but you know, there's unconditional love for this person. Okay, so let's see, what is the ending card that we should take into consideration, or what will help both parties in this connection when they get together? What should be the focus? Peace. I am unwavering in the face of fear. I come to my senses and embrace challenge. I am determined to think with gentleness and calm. I find inner silence and become a manifestation of peace. Well, understand, twin flame relationship, there's a lot of triggers. And peace is actually usually the last thing that you feel when you're being triggered. So what Spirit is saying is, it's like, it's going to take courage to actually be in this connection, because this connection is like a divine connection that's supposed to help you to look at your fears, to, you know, embrace those challenges, and to be determined to remain gentle. And that's difficult to do, especially with the person that you're that's triggering you. But that you need to then, when you get overwhelmed emotionally, take time out to meditate, like within inner silence, that you will return back to unconditional love, because there's actually is unconditional love for your person. What happens is we get triggered, we get mad, we react. Then there's a whole thing because we reacted, and that takes us further away from unconditional love. And what the Spirit is saying is, you have to become the witness. You have to stay grounded, and you have to stay in the energy of peace. And we can do that by breath work and becoming the witness. And like I said, we're not reacting and taking time out to get the divine guidance, because it's almost like the twin flame connection a lot of times is on, it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, mainly because there's a lot of triggers. Both parties get triggered with each other. Both parties don't handle life the same way. They don't approach life the same way. The way that they learned how to survive was different. Their strengths are different. Their gifts are different. So they're not going to think the same. However, both parties are going to be triggered to believe that the other needs to do things their way. Where, again, twin flame journey is learning how to surrender. It's so, I mean, there is unconditional love here, but it's not an easy connection. But this person's breaking away from that karmic, because you are a twin flame. And when I checked, you feel it too. So, you know, you're going to jump in. You're going to it's just what's going to happen. You don't have any control. So be happy about it, Gemini. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Let me know how you resonated with this one. All right. Bye.